Hey, everybody, welcome back to Red Road Paranormal. I am Christina. I'm one of your two co-hosts. My co-host is Rez, and we are with the beautiful Karli Bird this evening. And I think we're in for a really interesting discussion. What do you think, Rez?
Oh, most definitely. If it's anything like we were just having backstage before we came on, this is going to be fun for everyone and very, very informative.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Karli, tell us about Karli.
Hi, my name is Karli Bird. I am 25. I've been a professional psychic medium for about 6 years now. I've been a medium for about eight, realizing that I have these abilities. It didn't come until about a friend told me, hello, you can do the same things I can do. And then it kind of all spiraled down from there. But yeah,
Cool. Well,
Very
welcome.
cool.
I know I met you, I think the first time I met you was at a Spirits in the Spring event
probably.
at Broadhead Manor. Yeah, and we were at the paranormal investigation. We were channeling kind of together.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. That was so fun.
that was
Very
pretty
cool.
cool. Yeah, that was
Yeah, I
really
felt
cool.
a very instant connection, super comfortable with you.
Same.
And I felt very much able to do that. And that was the first time that I actually channeled before.
Yeah, I remember that. You were really
Yeah.
freaked out.
Hmm.
Freaked out and like, oh, okay, this is cool. This is nice.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I met Carly, what was it, going about 3 years ago now, down in Janesville for one of the Metapara Pro Production for events. And she'd come by the Caps booth, so I was there with the team, and she jumped on Whispers from the Dark podcast with us, and it just kind of intrigued me. So later on that day, I went down and got a reading from her. And man, she was spot on for what was going on in my life at the time. And we've managed to remain friends since, chatting back and forth. You
Yeah,
know, anytime we get together, it's a good time.
It is.
I agree.
Yeah. And we were talking backstage a lot about like energy and protecting our energy, and there's so much that goes into this that a lot of people, if you don't know, I mean, it's one of those if you know things, but if you don't know, then you really don't know. Like, what does it take to do what we do, you
You
know?
know,
And the toll that it can take on us if we don't protect our energy and take care of our energy. So, in Karli, you were saying you had an experience with that. Did you want to share that with us, or is
Yeah,
it too much?
absolutely. No, so this is a very interesting, very valuable learning lesson to everyone. So I was at a location. I wasn't prepared for what was to come, what the experience. Um, I guess the best thing that you can say was that I was jumped um, by a ghost. So a not so great energy, somebody who has not crossed over yet, who still has resentfulness in their hearts and still looking for vengeance and stuff. And I guess that person just chose me. So I was trying to help somebody else out, um, leaned over and I touched this guy on his shoulder. And he turns around and I can see the ghost's face on top of his face, almost like a plasma E effect. Um, and I jumped back and I was like, oh, he's got an attachment. Um, so I just felt really uneasy about the whole situation. Had an experience where the ghost actually used their cane um on me, so I felt a burning sensation all from the front of like my back, from my shoulders all the way down my back, and the whole team that I was with felt the same way. Got down away from that area, was all fine. And then later on, I think in the night, the person that was investigating and taunting the ghost, that I saw his face, He turned around again and I saw the ghost face again, like, haha, you didn't get rid of me. And then I felt almost like he was looking into my soul and I could just see all black in his eyes. And then I remember just feeling very angry after. Um, and it took a bit for me to like fully feel like I got all of that energy out of me. It took a lot. I knew that he was still there. Um, and it was just like a really like dark feeling that I had inside
Okay.
of me.
Wow. Those
Yes.
experiences are really, they're strong lessons, but I don't think people take them seriously when it doesn't happen to them.
Yes. Totally. You know, the old phrase, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, pops in my head when it comes to this a lot of times.
Yeah.
People go out for the thrill of it, but they don't think about the repercussions from not protecting themselves before they go out for this.
Mhm.
Also, another reason that I tell people not to taunt, is because of stuff like this.
Mhm.
You're inviting it in. You're inviting it to take that competition with you and to mingle with your energy. And
Exactly.
at that point in time, game over if they're strong enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't even like the person wasn't even in my group that was doing the taunting. It was somebody completely different, and not even associated with me. And the energy obviously didn't like that, and so just took it out on everyone that was involved, everyone that
Right.
was there.
That is, well, first of all, it's disrespectful, you know.
Yeah.
I know, I if you're going to be doing work like this, or even if you're just going to be curious about it, be respectful about it, you know. The
Yeah.
taunting thing is, it's not just don't do it because you could get hurt, you know, it's don't do it because it's disrespectful.
Oh,
Don't do it
yes.
because would you treat a living person that way? Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
right there,
yeah,
people do not take in consideration that you are dealing with 9 times out of 10 a person who has passed on.
right.
And when you pass over, you carry the same mentality you had prior until you make your full transition.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you're an a hole, now you got some other a hole coming in starting with you, what's going to happen?
Oh yeah,
It's
it's
going to
gonna
be a
get ugly.
conflict.
Yeah,
It's going to get real ugly. It's going to basically, I hate to say it, but it's become a pissing contest,
right.
you know, and that's where a lot of these guys are going wrong. If you
Mhm.
go in with respect and you talk to them like a normal human being,
Yeah,
9 times out of 10, you'll get a reaction. You'll get the answers you're looking for,
right.
you know. And I can't stress that enough to a lot of people that, the way that the TV has showed kid doing this for years is completely wrong.
And people are getting hurt.
Mhm.
Yes,
People are
seriously
getting
hurt.
seriously injured. Yep. And
You
seriously
know,
sick. People are getting sick from, not taking care of their own energy, but also not respecting other energies.
yeah, they're
That's getting
taking.
right on them.
Yeah, well, when you take in that lower vibration, that negative energy, it's going to wreak havoc on your energy and all the cells in your body because all we are energy.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you had an experience with this, Rez?
Um, with being my earlier years with dealing with the fact of being like an empath,
Mm-hmm.
I've taken on a lot of different people's energies, and it wasn't until I learned to recognize it before I learned to control it. Working in factories or in car lots, you could have someone that is in the most piss poor mood walk into the room. And all of a sudden, I was crawling out of my skin, angry, not knowing why, wanting to just basically rip people's faces off.
Yeah, I get that.
And then it isn't until you realize, okay, this isn't my energy I'm picking up on. There's no reason for this. And you learn to block it, then you learn to deal with it.
Right.
And to protect yourself, not to let yourself be walking around 24/7 wide open.
Mm-hmm.
That's another mistake people do with their energy.
And even people who don't deal with the paranormal or the spiritual world, most people are just walking out there wide open,
Yep, all
not
willy-nilly,
understanding that they're wide open,
Mhm.
yeah, it's one of those things that I teach in my classes is pull your energy in or throw it out, but know where it is.
yep,
Learn to
Right.
control your energy, learn to control where it is, learn to at least determine where it is,
Mhm.
So yeah, it's really important that as we're moving, and I know we don't bring this up much in this particular show, but as we're moving from the third dimension into the fifth dimension, and our energies are expanding and raising in frequency, energetic hygiene is really becoming a very important thing.
yeah,
Learning to take care of our energetic health is
Absolutely.
really, and the more that I see people in the paranormal, in the healing world, psychics, therapists, energy workers getting sick and like
yeah,
serious illnesses, it's really important that we understand that if we're not taking care of our energy, that's kind of where we're going. We need to be
exactly.
able to take care of ourselves, and that's the main point of that's the starting point, taking care of our energy. That's the starting point.
Yeah, I personally have had a lot of times where I'm giving people readings and this kind of topic comes up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, you need to get outside to nature, get some good positive energy back flowing through you and release what's getting bottled up because it's making you sicker. You got to release it and take that good in and let it cycle through the body. Otherwise, you're not going to heal. You're not going to get any better. And it's going to be a constant spiral,
Right.
which it's a little bit different than what Karlie went through, but that's still the same end result happens.
Yeah, definitely. If Karlie continued to do that without awareness,
Right.
Yeah,
that's what,
Yeah, then it would have been way a lot worse. Yeah.
yeah,
Luckily, by this time, I kind of knew what was okay, what's my energy and what is not my energy.
yeah,
And I feel like it kind of it takes practice, especially if you kind of like grew up not really knowing anything, and then you're just like, okay, this is what you are. You have to take care of yourself and stuff like that. You have to take care of, all of these things. And it seems like it might be a little bit overwhelming, but when you have good people around you that can help you and that can guide you, that's makes things like 1,000 times easier for sure.
it does. Yeah, absolutely. It
yeah.
absolutely does. And it's really so important because I didn't grow up hearing about energy. I don't know anybody who grew up hearing about energy. Well, my kids did because I was talking about it all the time. But, I don't know anybody my age, even who has been even growing up in families, where the parents or the grandparents were psychics or whatever. People weren't talking about energy the way that we do today.
No, I grew up in a household full with two mediums,
Yeah,
both my parents, and the energy was never a question. It was never talked about, none of that. It was, oh, we speak to spirit. We learn message from spirit. End of story. It
right.
wasn't the energy of the mingling of everything together was never a concept or a thought until later on down the road when I started doing my own research and light bulbs start going off.
Right. And I think in the last 10 years, it's been more important to be able to pay attention to our energy. I feel like it's gotten more important because, we're kind of reaching the shifting point where the worlds are separating, right? So if you're moving into fifth dimension and you're not taking care of your energy, it's going to be a rough ride. It's going to be a
Definitely.
rough ride for sure. Um, it's I know that we were talking about all this stuff before we came on, and I just think it's so important that we pay attention to that, not just for ourselves, but when we're working with a team, we got to watch out for our teams, right?
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
You
You
know,
know?
everyone you work with, it's our responsibility to keep an eye out there for them because we're more sensitive to the unknown than they are. So chances are we're going to pick up on it first. You got to keep it real with them.
Yeah,
You got to learn to trust your own intuition when it comes to these things.
right. And Karlie, when you're working with a team, let's say you're doing an investigation, or even when you're doing an event and there are other psychics around you, are you paying attention to their energy too?
Um, yeah, I try to, I like to see if what they are picking up on is kind of similar to what I'm picking up on.
Okay.
It's really nice to have validation. Um,
Mm.
and also to make sure that not only, I guess, like making sure that they're also being good to the spirits too.
Right. Yeah.
Like if you make me feel uncomfortable, or like if I don't necessarily like your energy, I'm probably not going to be around you for very long.
Right.
Yep.
And that's really what it
There's
comes down to, isn't it? I mean, it used to be like, I just don't like that person. They're a mean person or whatever, and I've totally reframed that to like, how are we matching energetically?
Hmm.
yep.
There's a lot less judgment in that, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. For years, for me, it was like, oh, I don't like that person. I don't know why, but I just don't really care for them. And here it was the fact that it was just how they were affecting my energy field.
Right. Exactly. How's the energy of being affected and how are we meshing or not meshing,
Hmm.
Yep.
energetically? I have I don't know. I'm going to ask you guys before I say my experience. Have you had that with readings where someone comes to you for a reading and they're just more difficult to read or you can't quite get it because they're just not an energy match?
Yes. I, because of the energy match, it just, you don't vibe with them. It's hard to pick up. But B, you get the ones out there that are come to you all stonewall. They put up all their walls, so it makes it even harder to connect with them because they're holding all their energy in.
Yeah.
Hmm.
How can you connect your heart to something when you hit a brick wall? And that's what we all do as mediums. It starts with the heart chakra and it comes out through the lips.
Yeah.
So if you can't connect to that person, it makes your job a living hell.
Makes it a lot
Hmm.
harder for sure. What's been your experience with that, Karlie?
So I guess luckily the first time that that ever happened to me, where I just have not been able to read somebody, was like my friend's friend. So I was like, I'm so sorry, but it was just like what Rez said. It was an energy block, like she was stonewalling me. So then
Mhm.
I'm like, well, I'm getting my friend's grandpa. So I was talking to her grandpa the whole time. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm getting from him. I'm not getting anything from you. But then later on, after, we started to become friends, then I was able to pick up on stuff. But it's like, yeah, if certain people aren't also willing to give some of their energy and you guys kind of breathe together, this is kind of like a side thing, but I started having my sitters breathe with me, take some deep breaths with me, so then
Mhm.
we can kind of both relax together and then kind of vibe better.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
It
I have
is.
also I have also started I don't know if I want to use the word confronting because that sounds kind of harsh, but if I notice somebody has, a block up in front of their heart, I'll tell them you've got a wall up in front of your heart, and they will either confirm it or sit there and just play test a psychic, which is my least favorite game ever. So because
It
people
is
claim
mine, but I'm guilty of doing it all these years. So
but you know what? I think a lot of people do it because they don't really understand how it works.
yeah,
You know what I
It's
mean? It's
almost
like,
like, why are you looking into my mind? Like, what are you searching for in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're the one who sat in front of me and asked for a reading, so
Right?
Yeah.
Like, what do you
yeah.
want?
Like, why are you now hiding everything from me? I mean, are you just here to prove that psychic isn't real? Because if you are, you're wasting your time. You're wasting my time and your money because I'm going to charge you for the time, right?
Yep.
Because that's just rude. So you're going to pay me for that. But um,
See,
yeah,
see,
it's interesting. But a lot of people will say, yes, I have a wall up in front of my heart and I can't take it down right now.
yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Then I'm going to find a way around it if you want a reading.
Yeah. You're
Okay.
gonna find the little crack of the doorway
Or
that little
yeah,
bit lets you in.
yeah.
Back to the test to psychic game. I did it for a lot of years to basically weed through all the charlatans out there.
Okay.
Because me growing up and the lifestyle that I had growing up, I've seen mediumship in this purest form as a normal every Sunday routine to the congregation free of charge and saying, hey, that interaction, that love between everyone. So growing up seeing that and then stepping out into another world where everyone's charging for it, it made me go, okay, A, are they legit? Or are they just taking money?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get all the whole Miss Cleos and everything else, our psychic friends network that we all grew up with on the 800 numbers growing up. It really put a sour taste in my mouth. So for me to actually believe in someone, you got to cold read me and not know me. And if you pick up in more than one thing, then I start looking at the legitimacy. And then chances are I will let some of them guards down to let you in. But you have to show me that you're legit. Otherwise, you're the next version of Miss Cleo.
That can backfire too, though, because like
Mhm.
I've had people who literally like block themselves off completely. I'm legit. I know I'm legit. I probably know 1,000 people who will tell you I'm legit. But when somebody's doing that and they're intentionally preventing you from getting information, that's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
I get what you're
Well,
saying, but at the same
yep.
time, it can also block legitimate psychics.
Well, I'm going to tell you this much. You are an amazing psychic, my dear,
Well,
because
thank you.
when we were first talking as friends and all up to the first time you actually read for me, there was that wall up and you were able to see right around it like there was nothing there.
Right.
So that's where I became comfortable with letting you closer in, where I've had other ones that, you try to let them in and nothing,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And sometimes, but again, it can also be like where that same person could do a phenomenal reading for somebody else because you weren't an energy match.
Yep,
You see what I'm
very
saying?
well.
It's like
Oh yeah,
just because somebody doesn't read me very well doesn't mean that they don't have a gift. It just means that they didn't match with me,
yeah.
you
And
know?
that's actually something I tell people when we're out at these events. Walk around. If you're looking for a reading, hit every person at the event one time. Stop, say hi, fucking get a card,
Yep.
and then whoever's energy you mix with the best, you felt the most comfortable, go sit down at their table.
I tell
Even
people
if it's
that
not
all the
me,
time. Yeah.
you need someone that matches you.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
That might be why I don't make a lot of money at these events because I don't have a lot of people because I'm telling them to go find everybody else, but they're getting what they need. And
Well, and
that's the
that's
most
really the whole
important thing.
point. Yeah. That's really the
Yeah.
whole point. People are getting what they need. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Carly, we're sitting here chit-chatting and you're just like, mm-hmm.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm really not one to like talk too
Chime
much
in.
anyways.
Yeah,
Come
chime
on.
in. Yeah.
This is your show here today, my dear.
Yeah. We're highlighting you and we're doing all the talking. So
Oh, that's all right. I was just gonna I basically agree with you guys too. And sometimes, like I there's been a couple times where people I've seen where like they'll look at my booth and then they'll kind of like look at me and stuff like that, and then they'll walk off. And then they'll kind of come back and then they'll walk off. And it's pretty interesting because some of the people that I never assume would even look at me or even like talk to me have sat at my table and I've given them like a really good reading.
Yeah,
And it's very interesting sometimes the people that you have sitting for you and
it
some of
is.
the gifts, some of the great messages that you're able to give when you remember
Yeah.
what is said. Yeah.
Right. So do you do specifically mediumship or do you do general psychic readings as well?
I do general psychic readings as well. And then I mostly work with like oracle cards too.
Okay.
But yeah, mostly mediumship and oracle cards is what I heavily rely on.
Okay. So, um, I mean, I know the difference, but we don't know who's going to listen to this. So could you tell us the difference between like what is a general psychic reading, what is mediumship, and what's the difference between an oracle card and a tarot card?
Oh goodness. Okay.
I mean, we
So
all three of us know the answer to those questions, but
yeah.
I want to hear how
Does
you
it mean,
present it.
Yeah,
yeah.
chime in if I um suck at anything. So, okay, so oracle card readings, I guess what makes the most sense to me is oracle card readings, there's not really a set amount of cards that you get in a deck. With tarot cards, there are a set amount. There are major arcana and minor arcana, and then there's also the different, I forget what they're called,
Suits.
suits. There we go.
Suits. I'll help you out with that
Um,
one.
Thank you. And they all can mean different things. Some people choose to use tarot intuitively. I just feel the most comfortable with oracle cards. Each oracle card deck also comes with a little booklet as well, um, and a description of each little thing. I don't really read those either. One of my favorite ones actually is these babies right here. If I can get them. They're my angel and ancestors cards.
Oh, wow. Those are pretty.
Love them. They are like my babies. So how I like to explain it is that my oracle cards have different energy and stuff like that. And so depending on how often you use your cards, um, and sometimes my cards can mean different things to different people. So like this card could mean like Lord take charge with authority. It could mean one thing to someone, and it could mean something completely different to another person. It all just kind of depends on what the person needs. Um, and I'm going to be honest, I kind of got distracted by my cards, so I don't remember what other questions you asked me.
Ooh, cards. I get like that too
Ooh,
Ooh,
sometimes.
cards,
I have
crystals,
my
yay.
toys. I have my tools. I'm
Yeah.
really good. What is the difference between a psychic reading and a mediumship reading?
Right. So a psychic reading, they can pretty much tell you generally what answers you're looking for. So um, this is really not my forte, honestly. Could be about love, friendship, business, ventures, career, uh, stuff about that. And then also like with mediumship readings, it's about connecting with your past loved ones that are no longer here on the physical plane, and then connecting with them and having healing information come through.
That was a really good
That's
explanation.
Thank you.
That was a really good explanation because a lot of people don't know the difference.
Yep.
You know, there are a lot of people that I have talked to over the years who think that all psychic is just mediumship. But there's, it goes in different directions. It does a lot of stuff. in different directions, you know, where you can get information. And I do spirit guide readings where I can introduce people to their spirit guide so that they know when they sit down to talk to their spirit guides who they're talking to.
Yeah.
You know, that so there's so many different ways that we can use our connection to the universe to share with people, and I just think it's so amazing. I can't imagine living my life any other way.
Right, I agree. I
Yeah.
feel so fulfilled. I feel like in my life that I can help people or that I have this gift, um, so that I can, you know, help as many people as I can.
Right,
All right.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. I love what we do because I get to help both the living and those and on the other side.
Hmm.
You might bring comfort to a loved one, but many people don't realize that maybe you're bringing comfort to that spirit for that one last conversation, that final goodbye,
Yeah,
if that's the case. So everyone involved is actually benefiting from this. And I think it's a beautiful thing when you do connect to that.
I
Mhm.
couldn't agree more.
Yeah, spirit connection is something like you can't really explain in words how truly amazing it feels to not only connect with a spirit, but also connect with them and then see the person sitting with you receiving those messages and actually like seeing their reaction
Hmm.
of okay, this makes sense. Then you know like, hey, I'm doing something right and this is beautiful. Like I'm glad that I can hold space for this
Yeah.
and facilitate it.
And for me, mediumship is probably the most profound healing method I have ever used in working with my clients because it heals people on so many different levels. You know, it can heal the soul, it can heal the heart, it can heal the mind, it can even in some cases heal the body, you know, because people have been
Yeah.
holding on to something for so long. And then when they get that confirmation, that information, whatever it is that they need, they can just release whatever it is that's making them sick or pained or whatever, you know, and
Mhm.
it's just such a beautiful healing modality, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thousand percent.
Yeah. I just, like I said, I can't imagine living my life any other way. I can't imagine not being able to help people the way that we do, you know, and the differences that we make in people's lives is so profound.
I agree.
So, did you guys always kind of feel, even growing up, did you guys always kind of feel a little different than everyone else?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
actually, I was more in tune as a child, and things were basically boxed back up in order for me to have a normal childhood. And it was until in my adult life that I actually stepped back into them roles of working with these abilities. I personally looked at it like a curse for a lot of years because who wants to know that your woman's cheating on you or something bad just going to happen, not knowing what it is, so you can't change it. That was the only what I always looked at. Like, man, this thing sucks. But it wasn't until I changed my frame of mind and said, okay, I'm going to work with these abilities. I know I have them. I know what I'm capable of, and trying to get back to that point is my journey ever since.
You know, what's interesting for me is that my experience of myself as a child was probably different than a lot of other people's experience. And I'm saying that in that other people's experience of me, because thanks to, you know, social media, I have been in touch over the years with a lot of people who knew me way back when, who have told me it's not that I didn't like you, it's that I didn't understand you. You kind of scared me, you know, or I didn't really know how to approach you. Like there was just always something different about you. And I just thought people didn't like me. And to find out all these years later, it's not that they didn't like me, they didn't know what to do with me.
It
Even
was the
people my
energy.
own age, yeah, they didn't know what to do with my energy. And because, and I don't know, maybe it's because of being female and having this energy, because I mean, you both know me, you know, my energy is like, right?
Hmm.
So even as a small child, and I was a very small child. I was a preemie, and it took me a lot of years to catch up. So I was a very small child, but with a very big energy. People did not know how to respond to me. And I've talked to people that I went to even early grade school with who were like, I don't know, we didn't know what to do with you. You know, and even some older neighbors, like my friend's parents were like, the kid was always weird. And it's not like I was always polite. I was always, I feel kind. Nobody ever said that I was rude or mean or anything like that. But they didn't know what to do with me because my energy was so much bigger than my body. And, you know, now that when I talk to people now and I have a vocabulary for it, they're like, oh my God, that makes sense. But as kids, none of us had that vocabulary for it,
No,
you know? Nobody had that vocabulary for it. But yeah, I always felt like I was different. I always felt like, why am I hearing, like, I don't know if you guys had this experience, and maybe Rez, you shut it down before it got this far, but I can clearly remember being in like sixth, seventh, eighth grade and just walking down the hall, hearing all of these conversations that people were having in their heads, hearing like the knowing who was being beat up at home, knowing who had responsibilities at home they shouldn't have had at that age, knowing everything about everybody, including the teachers. Like just having all this information bombarding me because I didn't know how to protect myself from it. I didn't know how to draw my energy in. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Did you guys
yep.
have that experience?
I consider it the whispers. It wasn't everyone,
Yeah,
but
it was
as I'd walk
whispers.
down the hallway, I'd get bombarded here and there, different people. I'd get experiences or knowing that, hey, something wasn't right in their picture, not knowing what it was, something wasn't right at home,
Yeah.
or it was just, but at that point in time, I'd already been shut down or boxed back up for so long that I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't know how to communicate it. And the only two people that I knew I could talk to really about this were already gone out of my life. So I didn't have anybody that say, hey, what's going on here? Why am I picking this up?
I didn't have anybody like that either because nobody knew what to do with me, and I didn't know that they didn't know.
Yeah,
I thought everybody had those experiences as a kid, you know? So
they do
Karlie,
until they're told they can't.
right, right. People,
Mm-hmm.
somebody finally said to me in seventh grade, will you please just stop being weird? But I didn't know what they were talking about because like they didn't know that I didn't know that they couldn't do what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that similar to what you, because you asked the question, Karlie. So
Yeah.
what was your experience?
So I kind of like, I guess it wasn't as loud as yours was. But like I could get like certain feelings and stuff like that. And it was interesting because when I was younger, um, like I would get upset and then like the wind would start blowing more. Like I felt like I was very, very connected with nature. And like if I was upset, like it would rain the next day. If I was happy, then the clouds would be out and like the sun would shine. Like it was like I felt very much one with nature. I could make energy things all the time. Um, and then in middle school, I kind of tried to shut it down so I could be normal. Um, and then I tried to get back into it in high school. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna try to be myself. Um, but I guess, yeah, I was always kind of a weird kid too. Loner, not really having a lot of friends, mostly hanging out with people, I guess, opposite gender of myself, and just finding comfort in that as well. And mostly just being completely content with myself. Like I would spend hours alone, and I'm like, okay, like I wonder if I was communicating with other things, like other beings, and I didn't
Interesting.
realize it.
Yeah. I
I
don't,
feel like it.
do you?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
I remember the first time I heard about spaceships. I don't know how old I was, but I know that I was still in grade school. And the first thought that popped into my head is why haven't they come back for me?
Yep.
It was
Interesting.
literally the first thought that popped into my head. Why haven't they come back for me?
You
It was,
know,
yeah, it was
it's
weird.
interesting that you said something like that about like aliens and everything, because like when I remember so vividly being in like first grade, I found a book about alien abductions and
Oh,
people
wow.
dealing with aliens. Yeah. And I
Wow.
was like
Okay.
obsessed with it. And I remember seeing pictures of somebody having like the dots and stuff all over their stomach and saying that they were like, yeah. And I was just like, whoa, like, what is it? Why? Like, why are they doing that? Why? I don't know. I just remember being super fascinated with that too. So that was interesting that you brought that up.
Interesting. Yeah. I
That's
literally was like, I remember going outside, I don't know, maybe fifth or sixth grade, and just looking up at the sky and going, where are you? Why did you leave me here? Just feeling like that. It was really strange. And of course, I wasn't going to say that to anybody in school, you know.
hmm
Yeah.
No. I mean, I was already dressing like I was 30, you know. So I was,
Apparently I would beg my mom when I was younger in elementary school to wear a witch hat every day to school. So
oh wow.
I don't remember that at all, but she was like, "Oh yeah, you did." And then I just remember also feeling like homesick but not understanding why. And then also feeling like I'm also somewhere else at the same time. And I
Mhm.
still have those feelings,
I do too. I do
like
too.
dissociation.
Hmm. I think at this point though, I mean, I've done enough channeling to figure out like where I am elsewhere, you know. So,
Hmm
and also that our spirits are huge. We, our spirits are not contained inside of our bodies by any means,
No.
and that we are very often living multiple lives at the same time in different places as different beings, whatever. But yeah, I got that too. It's like, I know I'm here, but I also know I'm somewhere else.
And
Yeah.
it's almost like a faint calling too.
Mhm.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, like we're here. Okay, but
Yeah.
like, can we communicate more? Like, how can we communicate more? You know,
Right.
when is this? Are you guys gonna like keep on going? Is there gonna be more? What's going on? You know, it's
Do you have that
fascinating.
communication in dreams though?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
do I.
I'd say I like wake up sometimes so tired, and I'm like, okay, like I feel like I'm like, yeah, I was definitely like in a parallel self. Like
Mhm.
I was like I went to bed, but then I was awake in another world. And then yeah, just wake up
Absolutely.
exhausted. And then I had another thought too, but I completely lost it. Oh, actually, it's about sometimes I have a hard time like understanding, okay, was this a dream or was this real life?
Yes.
I have
Like,
moments
did
like
I
that
have
too.
this conversation
Yes.
with this person in real life? Or like I'll have like dreams Like I thought I texted somebody something and then woke up and it's not actually like I never texted that person. And I'm like,
I've done
what?
that too. A lot more recently.
Yes,
Yeah, a
it's
lot more
been
probably
more
in the last,
often.
yeah, in the last 6 to 12 months, maybe more often. Yeah.
Yeah, there's been times that you've talked to me and go, did I send you that message? What message?
But I know I sent it to you
Right.
from a different dimension, maybe, but I sent it to you.
Yeah,
Be like,
that's
you're
it.
supposed to
You
get
sent
it.
it to the other res.
I sent it to
Right.
the other res. Yeah, exactly. But even stuff like in my dream, I keep hearing, oh, there he is. I keep hearing the cat. Like I had a dream recently about some medication I picked up from the pharmacy. And in my dream, I looked at the bottle and it said like a different, we can hear you, honey. Um, it said a different number of pills that were in the bottle than what it actually said, like in this lifetime. But then when I woke up, I counted the pills and there were that number of pills in the bottle, but it said a different number on the outside.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really weird. It was very
So
bizarre.
did you bring that bottle back from a different dimension?
Um, I hope so, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I think the pharmacy just made a mistake and my consciousness picked up on it. But
Very well possible.
Or like a glitch in the matrix
yeah,
type
lots of
Yeah.
glitches
things.
lately.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
lots
of
of
the stuff is
glitches
crazy.
lately. Yeah. Have
Crazy
you been
things.
having the glitches too, both of you?
Here and there, once in a while,
Okay.
I'll see something and I'll be like, wait a minute, no, I remember this differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll have to go back and search.
The
Kind of like the
Mandela
whole
effect?
Mandela. Yep,
Hmm. Just
exactly.
researching all of the Mandela effects. Like TikTok is one of the most craziest places to look at the Mandela effects and to
Oh
get
yeah.
into those rabbit holes of like all different kinds of stuff. I could spend hours on
Oh
TikTok.
yeah.
I went down that rabbit hole about 4.5 years ago on YouTube.
Yeah, it's
You
crazy.
know, and well, just like what was I was watching the other day? Oh, the new Elvis movie, the latest one that they came out with was a year or two ago. I was watching on, I believe, Tubi, and I have already seen it before on HBO and a couple other. And there's parts that I specifically remember. And I'm like, where is it? And then it shows up later in the movie, and it doesn't make sense to me why it's there when it should have been earlier in the movie that I remember it being.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, hold on here. That's one thing that I've been noticing. That and some of the music that I know that it's been changing.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
wonder like what are they trying to tell us? Like
And
what,
who are they?
right?
Yeah.
You know, like why? Why is all of
Or
this stuff going on? Is it extraterrestrial stuff or is it our own people doing it? Is another question.
that's a good question. Is it that our timelines are all merging so we can make this huge ascension?
Yeah. Timelines are definitely running over each other for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I try to find the words for this sometimes and I'm just like
A cluster duck. I don't know.
yeah,
We can just
Yeah.
call it a cluster duck.
yeah,
There you
there
go.
you go. A cluster duck. Let's make
Yep.
sure that we are pronouncing that with a D so
Oh,
that YouTube
darn.
doesn't take us off.
We'll just have to start putting that warning up ahead of time. I have a hard enough
Yeah.
time keeping a clean mouth in our conversations. Just give me one more word I can screw up. No.
Be like, I'm surprised that I've been this good about things. It's my
Yeah,
teacher brain still.
There you go.
right. Yeah, this is my
Mhm.
professional side. Catch me
Yep.
off air, see what kind of fun it is.
Right? Yeah.
The two of you
All
already
right.
been there.
It's fun.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. This has been a really great conversation. Thank you for coming out to play, Karlie.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
for inviting me.
Yeah. Trying to get my my mouse here to work. All right, there we go. All right, Karlie, if somebody wants to book a reading with you, how do they do it?
You guys can go on my Facebook. I want to say, let me look really quick to double check.
Okay.
I had an old Facebook business page, but then I unfortunately got locked out of it. So now I have the Karli Bird Psychic Medium page.
Okay.
Um, so it still has my face on it, and it has a picture of a tree as the cover photo. So get a
Excellent.
hold of me there. I believe I have a link tree with all of the information with like my TikTok, Instagram, email, all that good stuff on there.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah.
And Rez, how do people get a
Well,
hold of you?
best places is either Facebook Messenger, Bobby Resnick Calkins, or at resnickinc@gmail.com.
Awesome.
How about
Awesome.
you?
Well, if you want to book a reading with me, you can go on my website, christinabloom.com, or you can reach me through Facebook. I have Christina L. Bloom, Christina Bloom Spiritual Advisor business page, and a group called Your Spiritual Advisor, Christina Bloom, Your Spiritual Advisor. So if you wanted to join that group, there's some special goodies I do in there sometimes that I don't put out anywhere else. So, and also, I guess you could probably reach me through YouTube, right? People can leave messages on our
Yep,
YouTube
comments.
comments in the comments page, if you wanted to book with one of us. I also have 2 other YouTube channels. So you could reach me through Breakfast with Bobby, and it's Bobby with an I, not an IE.
Mhm.
And the other one is Paramystic Christina. So you could reach me there too. So enough of that, right? Like, how many
Right?
different ways do people need to get a hold of us? But
All the ways.
all the ways,
Yes.
telepathically.
Yes. If you think you
We
can
can
do it,
try that. We can try it. I ain't guarantee that, I'm gonna be in the right state of mind when you decide to. Check in advance.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
you'll probably get like images of cats and like guinea pig memes or something if you were to
something. Yeah.
telepathically connect with
You'll
me.
get
I don't
get the sign. This site is temporary out of order,
know.
You get
under
that too, yeah.
construction.
Yeah, under construction.
There you go. Absolutely. Well, again, thank you both so much. This has been a lot of fun. It's been a great conversation. And thanks for coming out to play, Karlie.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All
Thanks for
right.
coming aboard, my dear.
Yeah, thank you. And see y'all next week. Bye.